A death shrouded in secrets. The unsolved mystery of Annie Borjesson. Welcome to Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. I'm Jay Nicoll of Nicoll Investigations, and it's Thursday. Time for World Cold Case Thursday, where we step beyond Canada's borders to explore mysteries that echo across the globe. Today we're heading to Scotland, to the windswept shores of Prestwick Beach, where a young woman's death in 2005 left a trail of confusion, controversy, and a family's unrelenting search for truth. Imagine a cold December morning, the sea restless, the air biting. A dog walker stumbles upon a body face down, fully clothed, belongings scattered nearby. Her name was Annie Borjesson, a 30-year-old Swedish woman with a bright future ahead. The official story says she took her own life, drowning in the sea. But her family cries foul, pointing to evidence that doesn't add up. Bruises, freshwater diatoms, a shadowy stalker, and classified files. Was it suicide, murder, or something even darker? There's no rush today, no time limit to constrain us, so grab a warm drink, settle in, and join me as we dive deep in one of Scotland's most perplexing unsolved cases. This is the story of Annie Borjesson. Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. It's a gripping true crime podcast uncovering unsolved murders, disappearances, and forgotten crimes from Ontario and beyond. Told with deep research, compelling storytelling, and a voice for the victims. Join us today, where every clue could lead to answers, and every case deserves a second look. Section 1. Introduction. A life cut short. Annie Christina Borjesson was a 30-year-old Swedish national living in Edinburgh, Scotland. Her life ended abruptly on December 4, 2005. Found dead on Prestwick Beach near Glasgow Prestwick Airport. Her death was quickly labelled as suicide by drowning by Scottish authorities. But nearly 2 decades later, this case remains shrouded in mystery. Their family and supporters arguing that the truth is being buried, perhaps deliberately. Annie was no ordinary woman. Fluent in 5 languages, Swedish, English, French, German, and Hungarian, she was a talented linguist, musician, and dreamer. She moved to Scotland in 2004 to study English, immersing herself in Edinburgh's vibrant culture, working at a tourist hotspot, and playing in a local band. Friends described her as warm, adventurous, and full of life. She had plans, a manuscript in progress, a trip home for Christmas, a hair appointment booked. So why would she end it all on a remote beach, 80 miles from home? The official narrative says she did, but the evidence, the family's fight, tells a different story. Today we'll unravel the inconsistencies, explore the theories, and ask, what really happened to Annie Borjesson? Section 2. The Discovery. A grim morning on Prestwick Beach. Let's set the scene. It's December 4, 2005. Sunday morning on Prestwick Beach in South Ayrshire, Scotland. The beach stretches along the coast, framed by the Irish Sea and the hum of planes from nearby Prestwick Airport. It's a quiet place in winter, the kind where locals walk their dogs and the wind carries the salt of the sea. A dog walker is out early, his breath visible in the chill. Then he sees it. A figure lying face down near the water's edge, fully clothed, blonde hair tangled with sand and seaweed. Beside her, a backpack spills its contents. A passport, a wallet, library books. He calls the police and soon the beach is sealed off. The woman is identified as Annie Borjesson, last seen alive the day before at Prestwick Airport, 80 miles from her home in Edinburgh. The initial response is straightforward. Police note her soaked clothing, the proximity to the sea, and her belongings nearby. The working theory? She walked in the water to end her life. By the next day, the case is leaning toward suicide, a conclusion that will shape the investigation, or lack thereof. But even at this early stage, oddities emerge. Her belongings are neatly placed, not strewn as you'd expect from a chaotic act. And why Prestwick? A place where she had no clear connection to. For Annie's family, this scene raises more questions than answers. And as we'll see, the official story starts to unravel almost immediately. Section 3. The Investigation. A Tale of Two Autopsies. On December 5, 2005, Annie's body undergoes a post-mortem at Crosshouse Hospital in Kilmarnock. The pathologist finds no significant trauma, just minor bruises chalked up to debris in the water. The cause of death? Drowning. The verdict? No suspicious circumstances. Detective Michael Neal, leading the police effort, finds no evidence of foul play, and the case is effectively closed. Local press, citing a police source, reports a suicide ruling even before the autopsy results are final, a move that stings Annie's family. But the story shifts when Annie's body is repatriated to Sweden. Undertakers there, including Gun Danberg, examine her and are stunned. They find extensive bruising on her arms, behind her ear, most chillingly, finger marks around her neck. These injuries aren't mentioned in the Scottish report. Borjesson, Annie's mother, recalls, "It's like a punch to the gut. How could they miss this? It didn't make sense." Then comes a bombshell from laboratory tests. Freshwater diatoms, specifically Navicula isolata, are found in Annie's bone marrow. Diatoms are tiny algae that can pinpoint where someone drowned. Professor Pauline Snåslesium, a Swedish diatom expert, explains that these species thrives in fresh water, not the salt water of Prestwick Bay, where salinity ranges from 29 to 34 parts per thousand. This suggests Annie drowned elsewhere, maybe a river or lake, and her body was moved to the beach. Forensic expert Professor Bertrand Lutz agrees. Drowning occurred, but urges more tests on tissue samples. Tests that were never done. The Scottish authorities stand by their findings, but the discrepancies are glaring. Why the unreported bruises? Why no follow-up on the diatoms? Was it a rushed investigation? Or something more? Section 4. Discrepancies and Mysteries. The cracks widen. The diatom evidence alone is a game changer. If Annie didn't drown in the sea, the suicide story collapses. But there's more. Her belongings, passport, wallet, books, were found next to her body, almost staged. In most drowning suicides, items are left behind or lost to the water, not neatly placed. And her hair, once long and blonde, was reportedly short and choppy. When did she cut it? Why? Annie's behavior before her death adds fuel to the fire. 2 days earlier, on December 3rd, she called her mother from a payphone, worried her mobile was tapped. "Someone's listening," she said, hinting at fear or paranoia. Phone records for those 4 days are mysteriously wiped, despite Gooch confirming the call. And then there's the man she met, a figure impersonating rugby player Martin Leslie. She'd encountered him at a nightclub, later spotting him watching her at a swimming pool. She called him a sexual predator and planned to cut ties. But he was never identified or questioned. Another twist. Swedish files on Annie's death are classified as secret, redacted for national interests that could harm Sweden's international relations, per a 2020 Sky News report. Why would a supposed suicide warrant such secrecy? It's a question that leads some to wider theories, like CIA rendition flights at Prestwick Airport, active in 2005. Annie's name resembles Christine Borjesson, a journalist who probed rendition, sparking speculation of mistaken identity. But there's no proof Annie was involved in anything sensitive. Each detail deepens the mystery, challenging the official line, and begging for answers. Section 5. The Family's Fight. A Mother's Resolve. Annie's family, led by Borjesson, has never accepted the suicide ruling. I know my daughter, Guj told Sky News in 2020. She wasn't suicidal, she had plans. Christmas with us, her future. Someone took that away from her. Their fight began with the Swedish autopsy findings and hasn't stopped since. In 2007, they funded a second post-mortem, confirming the diatoms and bruises. They pushed for a fatal accident inquiry in Scotland, but the Crown Office denied it, citing no suspicious circumstances and refusing to release post-mortem photos, claiming it might distress the family, who'd begged for them. Guj gathered over 3,000 signatures for a petition, met with officials, leaned on media like the BBC and Sky News, used documentaries and podcasts like 2023's Body on the Beach to keep the case alive. The classified Swedish files are a brick wall, hinting at something bigger. State involvement, perhaps? Guj's resolve is unshaken. I'll fight until my last breath, she told the BBC in 2023. Annie deserves justice. Section 6. Theories? Suicide, murder, or conspiracy. So what happened? Let's break down the theories. Suicide, the official stance. Annie, possibly distressed, drowned herself. But her friend, Kat Dalmo, who saw her 2 days prior, said she was in good spirits, not depressed. No note, no history of mental illness, and future plans, like that hair appointment, undermine this. Murder by stalker. The Martin Leslie impersonator looms large. Annie feared him. Did he follow her to Prestwick, kill her, and stage the scene? The finger marks and freshwater diatoms suggest violence and a cover-up. Yet without his identity, it's a theory in limbo. CIA rendition link. The speculative outlier. Prestwick Airport hosted CIA flights in 2005. 19 confirmed by Amnesty International. Annie's name echoes Christine Borjesson's, but Christina denies any overlap. There's no evidence Annie was a target. The classified files keep this alive, though it's a stretch. The evidence, bruises, diatoms, or fears, leans toward foul play. But without new breakthroughs, it's a standoff between official closure and family conviction. Section 7. Conclusion. An open wound. Annie Borjesson's death is a cold case that burns hot with questions. The official ruling of suicide by drowning clashes with freshwater diatoms, unreported bruises, and a mother's certainty of murder. A stalker, missing records, and classified files hint at layers yet uncovered. Was it a personal crime, or a shadow of something larger? Nearly 20 years on, the case remains unsolved. Documentaries and podcasts amplify the call for answers, but the truth eludes us. For Guj and her family, it's a fight for justice. For Annie, a vibrant soul silenced too soon. If you know anything, however small, reach out to the authorities or the Borjessons. Share this episode. Keep Annie's story alive. Because in the world of cold cases, the past demands we listen. That's it for this World Cold Case Thursday on Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. Subscribe, rate us, and join me next week for another journey into the unknown. Till then, keep seeking the truth, because some mysteries refuse to rest.